Over 7 decades of life, I heard and witnessed situations of the most varied. But there is a question that often echoes why, even working hard, money seems to escape like water between the fingers. People come to me with this question, often embarrassed, but then vent, we strive, we don't have addictions, we don't spend on nonsense, so why do the bill never close? Why does the salary disappear even before being deposited? At these times, I usually take a break, observe the person, and then ask, say me sincerely, do you really want to understand the root of the problem or prefer that I say you are a victim of circumstances, government, or economy? Because the truth, as well as a bitter medicine, is not always pleasant to swallow, but it is necessary for healing. Most seek easy answers, invest here, buy this miraculous book, follow this infallible method. But the reality is quite different. As I used to say, my grandfather Isaac, a severe but wise man, scarcity is not just a matter of income, but a mindset, habits, and, above all, how they see life and its fears. And that's exactly where most stumble dot if you are willing to face front because money does not remain in your home. I will share something that few have the courage to say openly. Prepare. Money is not fixed where there is no organization, does not remain where it is treated with contempt, and runs away from those who refuse to admit that they do not know how to deal with it. There were at least 7 reasons why working people who are not effort remain trapped in a cycle of debt and uncertainties. And these reasons are not about the economic crisis, politicians, or fate. These are internal patterns, repeated behaviors, errors that go from generation to generation, often without realizing it. I'll be frank, you can hurt to hear some things. You can recognize yourself at certain points or even want to disagree, but if it reaches the end, it may understand the essentials. Lack of resources is not a condemnation. It is a condition that can be transformed. For this, however, it takes courage to look in the mirror, change what is needed, and start with yourself, not with others. I will not offer magical solutions, but a clear reflection of your reality. If you face this image without fear, with respect for yourself, you will leave here with a new perspective. You will see what is undermining your finances and how to rebuild the most solid foundations. As I used to say, my deceased neighbor, a man of strong personality and sharp mind, money is not a goal, it is a mirror. It just reflects who you are and how you live. Now, I will present 7 hard but real reasons that keep many people in the financial struggle. These are not theories, but lessons learned in practice, errors I saw repeat in my life and that of many others. If you're ready to face the truth, let's start. You have come here, which already demonstrates that you are not just looking to vent but understand. And that is a sign that you didn't give up. Now I will list 7 reasons why money always seems to be missing in your home. Pay attention. At some points you will identify yourself. In others, you will recognize close people. And I hope at some point you will decide, enough. First, money is not controlled because it is not valued. I met a man named Boris, tireless worker, without addictions, who spent the day in the work, dirty with grease and dust. One day he asked me why, even though I was killing me, never left. I asked, do you know exactly how much spends on food a month? And with fuel, with accounts, with small everyday spending? He had no answer to any of these questions. If you do not follow where each reel goes, the money goes where you want to. As my great uncle Noah said, money is like a child. If you don't educate, you become a problem. The solution, write down each expense, use applications, spreadsheets, or even a notebook. Only when you see every penny that it has control. Second, the need for appearances. Today, many people live a poverty disguised as wealth. They have the most modern phone, brand clothing, car financed in endless but zero reserve installments, all because they live comparing themselves to others. So and so has this, Sikrin has that, and me. What they don't see is that so and so is sunk in debt, and Sikrin pays very high interest rates for that car. My neighbor Aaron always warned, both we live on a facade, and old age lives with crumbs. The exit, learn to live with what is enough, without fear of seeming to have less. True wealth is not what you display, but in the tranquility of it owes nothing to anyone. Third, the taboo around money. In my family, we talked about finances early on. He knew the cost of food, light, and the main one, never spend more than earning. But in many houses, money is a forbidden subject. Parents do not talk about it, much less with their children. The result, adults who do not know how to discuss wages, expenses, or savings. Until, suddenly, they discover that the spouse has contracted secret debts, and the bank is already knocking on the door. How to manage something that cannot even name. The solution is simple. Talk about money without embarrassment. It is a tool, not a dirty theme. Involve the family in planning, even the children. Thus, They grow up understanding that money is responsibility. Fourth, invest in the image, not growth. A young man came to me saying, I want to make more, but I have no money for courses. I looked at him, designer sneakers, flashy clock, state-of-the-art cell phone. He said to him, you have invested in the shell, not the essence. Money likes applied intelligence. Many people spend superfluous, but when it comes to learning, developing, there is always a lack of money. Then they wonder why the salary is low. Change begins when you start to reserve a monthly value for your growth, as you do with food. Courses, books, mentoring. This feeds the mind and opens doors. Fifth, work without evolving. I met a man, Zama, who spent 22 years in the same job. One day I asked him, all this time, what did you learn again? He was silent. Working hard is not the same as growing up. If you do not develop, it is stagnant, and the money follows the stagnation. He reflected for a moment and replied, in fact, nothing. I just do what I always did. But the market changes, people evolve, technology advances at strides. If you get still, it's already behind, and so they do not pay. Payment comes from the value you deliver, the difference you make, from what you know today more than yesterday. What to do? Every 6 months, ask yourself, what do I do best now than 6 months ago? If the answer is nothing, it is a warning sign. Invest in yourself. Increase your ability. Learn something new. Where there is growth, the money follows. It's not magic, it's law. Sixth, the yes that empties the pocket. You have already planned everything right. Budget, expenses, goals. Until the phone rings, a friend borrows, another invites to a coffee, a trip, only today in the mall. You don't want to spend, but you feel obliged to say yes. And that's it, less money at the end of the month. Then comes the squeeze, the shame, the account that does not close. I met a man, Arkady, who spent his life saying yes to everyone. In 5 years, it was bankrupt. No one reached out when he needed it. As my father said, first say yes to your family, to your future, to your peace. Then, if you left, for others. What to do? Learn to say no with education, but firmly. Help when you can without harming yourself. It's not selfishness, it's self-care. Money is energy. If you spend it without discretion, you have no fuel for what really matters. Seventh, living as if tomorrow did not exist. Many people act as if the future were a problem tomorrow. Pension, it's still early. Reserve, then I see. The important thing is not to die of boredom today, until the disease, the dismissal, the crisis, and the despair knocks on the door. If there was a reserve, however small, panic would be smaller. Jews teach early on a simple rule: keep one part, invest another, donate a little, and spend the rest. It sounds basic, but this discipline saves lives. What to do? Start with any value, even $500 per month. Build a reservation of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Plan the next 3 to 5 years. The future is not an enemy, it's something you build today. Don't theme tomorrow, get ready for him. These are the 7 traps, 7 mirrors. If you recognized yourself in any, don't be alarmed. It's not a sentence, it's a starting point. As my grandfather said, only the fool does not change. The wise is not ashamed of reward. Esir. You may have smiled, agreed, or even annoyed by some truth. It's normal. The truth, when it plays deep, first hurts, then clarifies. We talk here what few dare to argue at the table, the taboos that were inherited in silence, like in a name. Disease. How many people do you know that they worked all their lives in old age, only have debts, no security, no foundation. Ask yourself, I want the same, because poverty is not just a lack of money. It is not being able to help those who love when you need it. It's fear of vacation as a threat, knowing that the invoice will arrive. It is losing nights of sleep calculating if the salary will give until the end of the month. This is not life, it is survival. And the worst, it becomes a habit. But here is the good news. You can change it. Money does not appear by chance. It comes when there is respect by itself, for work, for planning, for the future. You can't be irresponsible and expect stability. You can't please everyone and at the same time take care of yourself. It all starts with an understanding. My money is my reflection. As I think, so alive. As I live, so prosperous. Let's recap. If you do not control, the money disappears. If you live for others, you lose yourself. If you shut up, the problems will scream later. If you stop learning, you will be outside the opportunities. If it does not grow, it becomes weight, not value. If you do not know how to say no, you will betray your dreams for the convenience of others. If you don't plan, you will sail it aimlessly. This is not a threat, it is a mirror. And if you looked at him today, he's no longer the same person as yesterday. I don't know who you are, where you live, or how old you are, But I know one thing. It's never too late to own your money. It is never too late to stop being hostage to him. And if you carry guilt, I did everything wrong for so long. Stop. You didn't know. Now you know. And the responsibility is not with me or with likes on the internet, but with you, with your family, with your children, who learn more from your actions than from your words. If today you have advanced even 1%, you have already won, because poverty is not only lack of resources, it is a state of soul. It is to postpone life, to live in fear, to accept crumbs. But you have already started to change. And that is huge. What comes now? In the next few videos, I will show you how to build solid financial habits, how Jewish families teach 5 years how to deal with money, how to create a reserve even with modest salary, and why wealth is born in mind before reaching a bank account. If you want to be more than a viewer, if you want to be a student of life, subscribe to the channel. It is not for likes. It is not to lose the next step, because you can forget these words, but YouTube will remember you when the video comes out. Like if it was useful. Comment which of the 7 traps resonated with you. I read, I answer, because it is not indifferent to me, not because of the channel, but because that is life. And if I can spend a little bit of what I learned as they did for me one day, it's my duty. My name is Izzy. I learned to live with dignity, and I am still learning. Subscribe to Walk Together. For now, hold firm. Take care of yourself. Tell your money, and that he is not his owner, but a guest who knows his place.